Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to do an annual brake service on the front brakes of your Nissan Titan. So what I'm doing is I'm doing a tire changeover, and that's going to give me an opportunity to inspect everything and service the brakes. So what I'm going to do is inspect all components, clean everything up, re-lubricate things, and just overall see the health and condition of the braking system. So let's move forward and show you the action. As you can see, there's quite a bit of brake dust on here, and that's because these pads are dusty. I should have got a dustless pad. Let's go over some of the stuff we're going to use. We're going to need some brake cleaner, some clean rags, 17mm socket, 10mm socket and wrench, some high temperature grease, brake lubricant, torque wrench, and whatever else you're going to need to remove and install your wheel. And I've also got a bucket to hold up the caliper, and I've got the truck jacked up with a jack stand underneath for safety. And let's get into it. So in case you've never heard of an annual brake service, here in Ontario, where there's lots of road salt, you run into issues with seizing and rusting, and prevents your pads from moving, and you end up getting uneven wear, or your pads wearing out really quickly. So this outboard pad here on the front passenger side, I can already tell that's worn quite a bit more than the other pads, so we may have an issue with the pad sliding in this caliper. Also, I have been getting a little bit of squeak from this front left side, so it's time to get this done. I didn't do it in the spring. Usually I do it in the spring when I change tires, so this time I'm doing the fall when I'm changing tires. And I'm going to start by just trying to get rid of some of this dust. I'm going to throw some brake clean on here and wipe stuff down. I'm also going to brake clean the rotor and pad later as well, because some buildup of dust may be causing that squeak over there. So start with your 10mm socket and remove the bolt for this bracket that's holding the ABS and brake line bracket. It's going to allow you to move the caliper out of the way without damaging the brake line or ABS wire. So just the one bolt, and then there's a little hook, so just wiggle it out. So after that, grab your 17mm socket, and you can remove your two caliper bolts. Top one is right here, and with that bracket moved out of the way, you can get in there fairly easily. These aren't that tight. If they are, grab a little longer ratchet wrench. So if you do this regularly, these should never get seized in here. So set those aside. I'm going to put them on a clean rag out of my way. The other 17 is down at the bottom, caliper, and I forgot to do this on this one, or just mention it, but leave that bolt in part way. Just break it loose first, don't take it out. And then break that other one. Let's get them both loose. Once they're both loose, you can take them both out. Okay, with both bolts fully removed, we can remove our caliper and set it on your bucket or cardboard box. one of the pad cushions fell out, but that's just gonna go back in there. We'll set it aside. There's your pads. Keep track of your springs. 2 pad springs, set them aside. Here's our outboard pad. And we'll pull our outboard pad, try not to touch the pad surface. And we'll just compare those two, and you can see there's quite a bit of wear difference on those. Set them aside so you know which one was the inboard and which one was the outboard. So you can put them back on the same side. And we're going to remove our 2 clips. You can use a screwdriver to pry these off. If you are replacing your pads, they usually come with new ones. So if you're doing your pads, just replace those. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by cleaning these guys. Take some brake clean. Spray them all down. Get any old grease off, all the brake dust. And right in here is where the pads slide, so that's what we want to be cleaning. Wire brush. Get any rust. These are stainless steel, so there shouldn't be rust from these, but there could be rust from the pads. These look pretty good, but they did have some dust. Turn it down again. That one's done. I can reinstall it, and then just push on. Let's do the other one. This one already started. This one. Put that one back on. If I was going to put new pads, I'd probably clean the whole caliper and bracket. Before doing that, I might even repaint them if I was going to do the pads. They're just going to get dusty again. Yeah, these pads are super dusty. They're EBC yellow. I know everything's just going to get dusty again pretty soon. I'm going to use a rag to wipe off the inner tabs of the caliper. So these contact the pads, so the inside, clean those off. Pad cushions, I'll clean those off too. Give them some brake clean. So I've gone ahead and cleaned this surface and this surface with a rag with some brake cleaner on it. And some manuals, some people tell you to lube the whole back of the pad. I prefer not to do that. I just prefer to lube the surface that touches the pad. That prevents dirt attraction, and it also prevents or greatly decreases the chance of getting grease on the braking surface of the pad. I'm also going to put a little bit on the surface of these cushions. Insert those back in. These rotors are still in pretty good shape. There's no big lip or rust ridge on them. Because we were getting that squeak, I did brake clean this rotor and these pads. I didn't brake clean the pads on the other side. I did brake clean the rotors on the other side. We want to clean up the edges on here as well. I'll do that with the wire brush. Better. So you can lube these, but it's pretty close to the rotor. So what I do is just put a drop on the ends, and then just smear that. Careful not to get any on pad surface, and then you can reinstall the inner one, and I'll clean up and grease the other pad and then put it on. Okay, with both pads in place, we can install our springs. Okay, we also want to clean and lubricate the pins. So let's pull out the top one. The pins, the slide pins are right where the bolts go in. So there's our pin. It's not too bad. It's in better shape than the top one was on the other side. So with that wiped off, some more of your grease. Kind of smear that, and if it is really bad, you can try and clean out your caliper bracket. You could, if it's full of rust, you can take your bracket off, spray it out, wash it out, and kind of put new grease in there. Let's do our bottom pin. See, the grease starts to turn black after a while, and if you let it go dry or if it gets water in there, it will rust your pin. Your pin won't slide. And if they do get bad, you can buy replacement ones. These will still work. I think maybe next time replace the pads. I will buy new pins as well, just so everything's working properly. I've done the brakes on this truck once. Front and back have been done once. Okay, with everything back, we can take our caliper and we're gonna have to slide it over these pads. So squeeze the pads together, making sure the springs don't pop out. And you have to get the caliper on either side of the two tabs. You can sometimes get hung up on those. So hold it, grab one of your caliper bolts, and then with one end you should be fine. Let go, grab your other one. So I just want to show you one thing when I tighten this up. So when you're tightening this up, you can see that there's a flat side, and that's going to go against the caliper, and that's going to prevent your slide pin from spinning. So make sure that's lined up when you tighten that. Now don't forget to reinstall your bracket, the 10mm bolt at the back. Line up the hook into the slots, and then turn it so the bolt lines up. And that doesn't need to be on tight, so just hand tighten that 10mm bolt there. Torque on those caliper bolts is 32 foot-pounds. I'm going to do the bottom one here. And I'm going to have to do the top one later with the wheels turned a little bit, because I can't reach it. Yeah, you get the idea? And we can get our wheel back on.